Polling shows Americans not too happy about a potential Biden-Trump matchup in 2024. According to a new Monmouth poll, only 37% of voters are enthusiastic about Trump and 32% enthusiastic about Biden. It all comes as questions swirl over whether a third-party candidate will enter the race. That may be the case for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He is reportedly expected to drop his bid for the Democratic nomination and instead run as an independent, potentially a libertarian. So how will that impact the front runners? Let's bring in our panel. David Avella is chairman of GOPAC, and Kevin Walling, a former Biden campaign surrogate and Democratic strategist. Jesus, I can't tell you guys apart today. You're dressed like twins.
Nice and coordinated here.
So here is a guy with the last name of Kennedy, who is the son of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he feels like he doesn't have a home in the Democratic Party. All I can say to that is wow.
Wow, John. Well, listen, I think as you saw the process play out over the last couple of months, the more that Democrats heard from Robert Kennedy Jr., the more they understood his policy positions, the lower rating he got in terms of polling. So I think he's making this tactical decision that the only way he can be relevant in this race, with Joe Biden far and away the leading candidate on the Democratic side, is to potentially, to your point, become a libertarian, which would allow him ballot access come November.
Now, aside from all the discussions about a third party and no labels and that whole bit, you've now had some Democrats in Biden's orbit suggesting that RFK running as a libertarian could actually hurt Trump. Let's hear what he said.
And I think that may end up hurting Donald Trump or the Republican nominee more than Joe Biden. I also think that the fascination with RFK Jr.'s candidacy was a bit of an elite media fascination.
David, your take?
You wouldn't have Democrats also calling for a time for Joe Biden to move on, which you continuously hear increasingly. And the Kennedy family is so interesting. It was Robert Kennedy that pushed President Johnson to finally decide he wasn't going to run again. It was Ted Kennedy who pushed Jimmy Carter, who decided and ultimately went on to lose. And now you've got this Kennedy who's now taking on a third Democratic president. I mean, there's something about the Kennedy family that they don't like incumbent Democratic presidents.
So in terms of who this might benefit, first of all, let's call for number one here. Here's the RCP average on the Democratic nomination. Biden way out in front, 64.9%. Kennedy's got 14.9%, which is not insignificant. I mean, if in a very close race, Williamson at 4.8%. But when you look at who might benefit from that 14%, let's go to call for number three here. Quinnipiac poll on Kennedy favorability viewed favorably by 48% of Republicans and only 14% of Democrats, viewed unfavorably by 18% of Republicans and a whopping 57% of Democrats, which suggests that if he were to get into the race as an independent, whether he runs it on the Libertarian ticket, Green Party, or whatever, that he would draw more from Republicans than he would from Biden.
Yeah, John, it's a good point. I mean, I think, again, as I said before, some of the Robert Kennedy Jr.'s views on vaccines, on COVID, on diseases are kind of more in line with what you see on the Republican side. And that could very well be the case, that he pulls from Trump's base of support.
The suggestion, though, is that somehow that Trump would not get votes that somehow Kennedy's going to take from him. And there's no polling that would suggest that right now. And certainly as you're looking at Kennedy as he makes his case, has been making his case to Democrats, and you look at Cornel West, it is that combination. It's the more people that get in that start pulling from Biden. And it's ultimately who has the most of their base. Does Biden take more of his base in, and then the third-party candidates pull away from that? Or does Trump have more of his base? Today, you would say that Trump has the edge going in to the general election.
We may find out soon.
We will.
We will.
Sooner than later.
The other big news coming out of California this morning is Governor Newsom has named who he will replace the late Senator Dianne Feinstein with, LaFonza Butler, president of Emily's List, director of public policy campaigns North America for Airbnb, senior advisor to Kamala Harris's campaign. Biggest headline maybe, though, about her that we've learned today is that she doesn't actually live in California.
Yeah, that should be on the bottom there. Doesn't live in California.
Right. Apparently does own a home there, and will change her voter registration before she goes ahead. But why would the governor make that nomination?
Well, I think, as you just pointed out, Jackie, her sterling record of experience as a labor leader, as running Emily's List. She lived 2 decades in California, leading one of the largest state-based unions out there. We run into these kind of residence issues all the time. There's questions about Tommy Tuberville living in Florida, registered to vote in Florida, paying taxes in Florida, and representing Alabama. So these are not new in terms of residency questions, and I think Governor Newsom has trusted, Senate designate Butler over the years. She's a close confidant of Kamala Harris, and he thinks she will best represent California. I think one of the interesting nuggets, too, is he said, she doesn't have to be a lame duck. She can run for this seat that he's appointing her to, which will make for an interesting dynamic with the 3 really well-established candidates already in that race, Jackie.
I had an interesting observation this morning watching Fox, that every time a question is asked of a Democrat, you suddenly hear what the Republican is doing. So,
we just all want to play from the same rules.
No, tell me what the Democrats doing. I don't care about Tuberville, but what about this? She may be able to run for the Senate.
Gavin Newsom is biding his time until Biden time is behind us. This is all about 2028. Think about it was when Emily's List moved from Hillary Clinton to Barack Obama that he got a huge base. Gavin Newsom knows the influence Emily's List has in the Democratic Party. So what does he do? He goes and gets their president as he's to become the next senator as he thinks about 2028. And also we have to think about this. So much for trying to bring bipartisanship to Washington, because we know this new senator is not going to be one who's going to seek to cross the aisle and work with Republicans in the Senate.
Not in the way
we don't know yet. We don't know yet. She's barely taken office.
If you look at the CV, it would be suggestive.
That's right.
I think that's fair. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jackie,
And Long,
thank you.
David Develop, thank you.
Appreciate